The contract music nobody takes. The central hiring station orbited the neutral planet of Vex Prime like a giant metal moon inside its vast halls. Thousands of mercenaries from across the galaxy gathered each day. They came from every corner of known space, warriors with scales, warriors with fur, warriors with metal plating instead of skin, all of them looking for work, all of them looking for credits. Zexer walked through the main corridor with confidence in every step. He was a Krillix warrior standing nearly 3 m tall. His 6 arms were thick with muscle. His exoskeleton gleamed deep purple under the station lights. 2 rows of eyes ran along his elongated head, giving him vision in almost every direction. His species had conquered 12 star systems through pure military might. He had personally led raids on 40 different worlds. He considered himself one of the finest mercenary commanders in the galaxy. The contract boards filled an entire wall of the station. Holographic displays floated in the air, each one showing a different job. Most paid standard rates: guard a merchant, convoy clear pirates from a trade route, provide security for a mining operation. Simple work that barely interested him anymore. But one contract stood out from all the others. It glowed with a red border marking it as a premium job. The payment offered was 50 times the normal rate for planetary assault. The target was a small agricultural colony on a world called Veridin Prime. The objective was simple: remove human settlers who had refused to leave land claimed by the Thorian Dominion. Zexer studied the details carefully. The colony had fewer than 5,000 inhabitants. They possessed no military vessels, no orbital defenses, no heavy weapons detected by scans, just farmers and their families growing crops on fertile land. The contract had been posted for 73 days. Nobody had taken it. This puzzled Zexthor greatly. The payment was enormous. The target appeared defenseless. Any competent mercenary force could complete this job in a matter of days, yet the contract remained unclaimed, glowing red like a warning beacon that everyone ignored. Deep voice spoke behind him. You are thinking about it. Zexthor turned to face Krell, a veteran warrior of the Vorthan species. Krell's people were massive creatures with thick gray skin and 4 powerful legs. A long trunk extended from his face and small, intelligent eyes studied Zexthor carefully. Krell had fought in mercenary companies for over 60 years. He had more combat experience than anyone else on the station. The payment is exceptional, Zexer replied. The target appears weak. I do not understand why this contract remains available. Krell's trunk curled with what Zexer recognized as nervousness. Walk with me. We should talk privately. They moved to a quieter section of the station. Through large viewports, stars filled the darkness of space. Other mercenaries gave Krell respectful distance as they passed. Everyone knew his reputation. I have fought for 62 years, Krell began slowly. I have killed enemies from 80 different species. I have survived battles that destroyed entire armies. But I have 3 rules that I never break. I never fight against the Zarathi hive mind. I never accept contracts in the Corvan Nebula where those ancient machines sleep, and I never under any circumstances fight against humans. Zex. Thor's multiple eyes blinked in surprise. You fear them. Humans are weak creatures. They have no natural armor, No claws, no venom, they come from a single small world. That small world is classified as a Class 12 death world. Krell said quietly, do you understand what that means? Only 3 other known planets in the galaxy have that classification. Everything on such worlds exist in a state of constant warfare. The environment itself wages war against all life. The creatures that evolve there are shaped by endless conflict. Other species have come from difficult worlds. Zexther argued that does not make humans special. Krell was silent for a long moment, then he began to speak in a voice that carried weight of terrible knowledge. 30 years ago the Belgrim clans decided to claim a human colony world. They sent their entire warrior fleet, 8,000 of their finest soldiers. The Belgrim are not weak. They had conquered 18 systems. Their warriors trained from birth for combat. He paused, his trunk twitching with old memories. The human colony had 1,200 people, mostly farmers and miners. The Belgrim landed expecting quick victory. The humans sent no distress calls. They did not flee, they simply waited. What happened? Zexther asked, though part of him was beginning to feel uncomfortable. Nobody knows exactly, Krell continued. The Belgrim forces sent regular reports for the first day. Then the reports became confused. Soldiers were disappearing, equipment was failing, strange things were happening. Then all communication stopped when the Belgrim sent a rescue fleet 3 weeks later. They found nothing, no bodies, no blood, no signs of battle. 8,000 warriors had simply vanished. Krell's eyes fixed on Zexther with intensity. The human farmers were still there, still working their fields, when the Belgrim fleet demanded answers. The humans claimed they knew nothing about any military force. They said no one had attacked their colony. They seemed genuinely confused by the questions. Impossible, Zexther said, but his voice lacked conviction. There are dozens of similar stories, Krell said. Mercenary forces that take contracts against human colonies. They land, they disappear. Sometimes a few survivors escape to tell fragmented stories. They speak of shadows that move impossibly fast, of weapons that stop working, of humans who seem to know exactly where every enemy soldier will be before they arrive. There he leaned closer. The survivors all say the same thing. The humans do not fight like other species fight. They do not meet you in honorable battle. They do not try to defeat you. They try to erase you completely without trace. Without witnesses, they make it so nobody can prove what happened. Zexther felt something cold moving down his spine. He was a warrior who had faced death many times. But the way Krell spoke carried a truth that could not be denied. Why do you tell me this? Zexther asked. Because I see the look in your eyes, Krell replied. You are young, you are ambitious, you see that contract and think it will make you famous. You think it will prove your greatness. You are wrong. That contract is a death sentence. I'm not afraid, Zexther said, though he was no longer certain this was true. Fear is wisdom, Krell said softly. The humans have a saying. They learned it from their own history. They say that the only thing necessary for evil to triumph is for good people to do nothing. But they have another saying too. They say that if you come for their families, you will learn what monsters really are. He placed one massive hand on Zexther's shoulder. Those colonists on Veritin Prime are families. Human families. They have children. There, do you understand what you would be threatening? Zex Thor said nothing. His mind was working quickly, weighing options, calculating risks. Walk away. Krell urged, there are 1,000 other contracts, find different work, forget you ever saw that red-bordered posting. For a long moment, Zexthor considered. This advice, Krell had never been wrong. About anything related to combat, his experience was beyond question, but Zexor also knew that legends were built on taking risks others would not take. Fame came to those who succeeded where others failed. Thank you for the warning, Zexor said finally. I respect your wisdom, but I am not you. I will take this contract. I will assemble a force that cannot be defeated. I will succeed where others have failed. Krell's eyes showed deep sadness. Then, I will not see you again, young warrior. I will remember you as you are now. Before you learn the terrible truth, he turned and walked away slowly, his 4 legs carrying his massive body with heavy steps. Zexthor stood alone, looking out at the stars. For just a moment doubt touched his mind, then he pushed it away with confidence. He was Zexthor of the Crix. He had never lost a battle. He would not fail now. He returned to the contract board and pressed his authorization code against the holographic display. The red border turned green. The contract was now his. Within 5 standard days he had assembled a mercenary force of 4,000 warriors. They came from 20 different species. All were veterans. All had excellent combat records. He purchased the finest weapons the black market could provide. He hired 3 capital ships and 15 dropships for planetary assault. The fleet departed the central hiring station with great ceremony. Other mercenaries watched them go. Some cheered, some said nothing. Krell stood at a viewport and watched the ships disappear into hyperspace. He knew he would never see any of those warriors alive again. The journey to Veritin Prime took 8 days. Zexthor used this time to drill his troops and review assault strategies. Everything was planned perfectly. They would land at dawn. They would surround the human settlements. They would give the colonists one chance to leave peacefully. If the humans refused, they would use non-lethal weapons to force evacuation. Simple play, professional. The fleet emerged from hyperspace at the edge of the Veritin system. The planet appeared on the main view screen. Beautiful world of blue oceans and green continents. Sensors immediately began scanning for defenses. Report, Zexor commanded. His sensor officer, a thin, insectoid creature with compound eyes, studied the displays carefully. Sir, I detect minimal technology, basic communication networks, agricultural equipment, no military installations, no weapons platforms, no defensive satellites. The largest settlement has approximately 800 humans. Zexor felt his confidence solidify. This would be even easier than expected. Perhaps Krell had been telling stories after all. Perhaps the disappeared mercenary forces had simply been incompetent. Open a communication channel to the surface, he ordered. The main screen flickered and showed a human face. It was a female with short dark hair and weathered skin. She appeared to be in her middle years. She looked tired, like someone who worked hard every day. She did not look frightening at all. This is Commander Zexthor of the Krillix Mercenary Company, he announced formally. You are occupying land claimed by the Thorian Dominion. You have 72 hours to evacuate this world. This is your only warning. The human woman studied him for a long moment. Her expression showed no fear. No anger, just something that might have been sadness. We've been here for 12 years, she said quietly. We've built homes, we've raised children. We've made this place ours. We're not leaving. Then you force me to remove you, Zexer replied. We will use non-lethal methods if you cooperate, but we will complete our contract. The woman sighed softly. You should leave, please just leave. While you still can. Is that a threat? Zexer asked, almost amused. It's an LT Unk and GTS advice, she said. The same advice we gave the others who came before you. Transmission ended before Zexer could respond. He stood in silence for a moment, thinking about her words. Others who came before you, so there had been others who had vanished. For just an instant he considered ordering a retreat. Then pride took control. He was commander. Thor, he would not be frightened by vague warnings from farmers. Prepare landing operations, he commanded. We go down at dawn. The vanishing, the dropships descended through Veritan Prime's atmosphere as the sun began to rise. Zexthor stood in the lead transport, watching the landscape below. Rolling fields of golden crops stretched across valleys. Small clusters of buildings dotted the countryside. Rivers sparkled in the early morning light. It looked peaceful, almost beautiful, too peaceful. Something whispered in the back of his mind. Dropships landed in a wide clearing near the largest human settlement. Doors opened and 4,000 mercenary warriors poured out onto the soil of Veritan Prime. They moved with practiced efficiency, establishing a perimeter, setting up command posts, deploying sensor equipment. Within 30 minutes, they had created a fortified camp. Zexer's command center was a mobile structure that unfolded from one of the larger transports. Inside, holographic displays showed the positions of all his troops. Sensor readings covered the surrounding 10 km. Communication channels connected him to every squad leader. Everything was proceeding exactly according to plan. Sir, scouts report the nearby settlement appears empty, his tactical officer reported. Buildings are intact but show no life signs. It appears the humans have evacuated. Zexer considered this. Perhaps the colonists had been more reasonable than expected. Perhaps they had fled during the night after receiving his warning. This would make the mission much simpler. Send 3 squads to investigate, he ordered. Full sensor sweeps. I want to know where they went to. The squads moved into the settlement carefully, weapons ready, scanning for any signs of ambush. They found houses with doors unlocked. Furniture sat in normal arrangements. Dishes rested in drying racks beside sinks. Children's toys lay scattered in yards. Everything looked like people had simply walked away in the middle of ordinary activities, but there were no humans anywhere. Sir, this is strange, the squad leader reported. There are fresh meals on tables, still warm, like they were eating breakfast just minutes ago, but nobody is here, not even tracks leading away. Zextor felt the first touch of unease. Expand the search pattern, check all buildings, look for underground shelters. The search continued for 2 hours. They found more of the same empty buildings that looked recently occupied, personal belongings left untouched, vehicles with warm engines but no people, not a single human colonist anywhere. They cannot simply disappear, Zexer said, though he Remembered Krell's words about mercenary forces that had vanished. Without trace, as afternoon arrived, he ordered his troops to establish defensive positions around the camp. Guard posts were set up every 50 m. Around the entire perimeter. Each post had 3 warriors with full sensor equipment and heavy weapons. They were ordered to maintain constant communication, reporting in every 10 minutes. Zexer was taking no chances. Night fell across Veridin Prime. Darkness here was complete with no city lights to push back the shadows. 2 of the planet's 3 moons were in there. Dark phase, only 1 small moon provided dim illumination. The stars overhead seemed brighter than Zex Thor had ever seen them. The first missed communication check came at 2200 hours. Command, this is Post 7. We are wait. Did you hear that? The voice cut off. Suddenly, Post 7 report. The communication officer called. Silence. Post 7 respond immediately. Nothing came back. Zexthor moved to the communication console, sent a team to Post 7. Double time. 6 warriors jogged across the camp to the guard post. What they found made no sense at all. The post was empty. 3 warriors were simply gone. Their weapons sat on the ground, powered down but undamaged. Their armor was stacked neatly to one side. Their communication devices were arranged in a small pile. Everything they had been carrying was present and accounted for, except the warriors themselves, sir. There are no signs of struggle, the investigation team reported. No blood, no shell casings, no disturbed ground. The sensors show no record of any approaching life forms. It is as if they removed their equipment and walked away into the darkness. Zexthor felt cold, fear beginning to wrap around his hearts. That makes no sense. Warriors do not abandon their post. They do not remove their armor and weapons, sir. Post 12 is not responding. Zexthor spun to face the communication console. What? Post 12, sir, they missed their check-in. I am trying to raise them now, but there is no answer. Send another team. Now the second investigation team found exactly the same thing. Empty post, equipment neatly arranged. No warriors, no explanation. Pull all perimeter guards back to the main camp. Zexer ordered, his multiple eyes scanning the darkness beyond the lights. Tighten the defensive circle. Nobody goes anywhere alone. Minimum groups of 6 for any movement. His officers obeyed quickly. The fear was spreading. Now, warriors who had fought across the galaxy were looking nervously into the shadows. Weapons were being checked and rechecked. Conversation had stopped. Everyone was listening to the night. At midnight, Post 3 reported movement. The darkness beyond their position. I see something, the guard reported. Approximately 200 m out, moving between the trees. It appears humanoid, but it is moving wrong. Too fast, too smooth. Illuminate the area, Zexthor commanded. Full lights, powerful searchlights cut through the darkness, painting the forest in harsh white light. The guards stared at the illuminated trees, weapons ready. Nothing was there. I saw it, the guard insisted. I swear I saw something. Maintain alert status, Zexer replied. But he believed the guard. Something was out there. Something was watching them. By dawn, 18 more warriors had vanished. They disappeared from inside sealed tents. They disappeared while walking in groups of 6. They disappeared from positions that should have been impossible to approach without being seen. Each time their equipment was left Behind, arranged with care that seemed almost mocking, Zexthor called in. Emergency meeting with his senior officers. They gathered in the command center, and for the first time in his career he saw fear on every face. We are facing an enemy we do not understand, he said bluntly. 24 warriors have disappeared without any sign of combat. We have detected nothing on sensors. We have seen nothing on visual scans. Whatever is taking our people is operating beyond our ability to detect or prevent, sir. We should evacuate, his tactical officer said. This mission is impossible. We cannot fight an enemy we cannot see. Zexor wanted to agree. Every instinct screamed at him to order a retreat, but pride still held him. He was Commander Zexthor. He did not run from farmers and colonists. We will hold position one more day, he decided. We will study their methods. We will learn how they operate. Then we will decide our next action. That afternoon, they found the first human. A scout patrol discovered him sitting on a rock near the forest edge. He was an older male with gray hair and wrinkled skin. He wore simple farming clothes and appeared completely unarmed. He was eating an apple and watching the mercenary camp with calm interest. The patrol surrounded him immediately, weapons pointed from every direction. Do not move, the patrol leader commanded. The human finished chewing his bite of apple. Good afternoon, he said pleasantly. Lovely weather we are having. They brought him to the command center in restraints. Zexthor studied him carefully, searching for any sign of the threat Krellel had warned about. He saw only an old farmer who seemed completely unbothered by his capture. Where are my warriors? Zor demanded. Your warriors? The human looked genuinely confused. I am sorry, I do not understand the question. 24 of my soldiers have disappeared since we landed. You will tell me what happened to them. The human took another bite of his apple. He chewed slowly, thinking. I suppose they are gone. That happens sometimes when people come here uninvited. What happens? What are you doing to them? Me? Nothing at all. The human smiled, but there was no humor in it. I'm just a farmer. I grow wheat and vegetables. I am not a warrior. You are lying. Zexthor growled, his 6 arms flexing with anger. I am not the human replied calmly. I truly am just a farmer. But you need to understand something about humans. We are not like other species you have fought. We did not evolve in a safe environment. Our world tried to kill us every single day. For millions of years. He leaned forward. Despite his restraints, do you know what persistence hunting is? It is how our ancestors caught prey. We did not need to be faster than the animals we hunted. We just needed to never stop chasing them. We would follow them for hours, for days, until they collapsed from exhaustion. Then we would kill them easily. Zexor said nothing, but he was listening carefully. Our bodies evolved to make us nearly impossible to kill. The human continued. We can survive injuries that would kill most other species. We can fight through pain that would incapacitate others. We can adapt to almost any environment. Our immune systems are so aggressive that diseases from other worlds cannot survive in our bodies. The human finished his apple and set the core aside carefully. But our bodies are not the dangerous part. Our minds are what make us truly deadly. We are pack hunters, social creatures. When you threaten one human, you threaten all of us. When you threaten our children, you activate something very old and very Dangerous in our brains, you are trying to frighten me with stories, Zexther said. No, I'm trying to warn you. Before it is too late, the humans' expression grew sad. There were others. Like you, 8 months ago, a mercenary force of 6,000 warriors landed here. They came to remove us from our homes. They thought we were weak. They thought we would be easy to defeat. He paused. They were gone within 3 weeks, every single one. We tried to warn them too. They did not listen. What did you do to them? Zexthor asked, though he was beginning to fear the answer. We defended our families, the human said. Simply, that is all. We did what humans do when someone threatens our children. We removed the threat completely. Oh. You have no weapons, no armies, no technology that could. We have something better, the human interrupted. We have 4 billion years of evolution on a death world. We have instincts and skills that your species never needed to develop. We understand ambush. We understand camouflage. We understand psychological warfare. We understand how to use the environment as a weapon. And most importantly, we understand patience. He looked directly at Zexthor with eyes that suddenly seemed very old and very dangerous. Your warriors are disappearing because we are taking them one by one, carefully, quietly. We do not fight in large battles because we do not need to. We simply remove pieces of your force until nothing remains. Equipment is left behind because we want it left behind. We want you to find those empty posts. We want you to feel the fear growing. That is terrorism, Zexer said, his voice shaking slightly. No, that is how prey animals survive when facing larger predators, the human replied. You are predators who came to hunt us, but you made a mistake. Humans are not prey. We are apex predators, pretending to be prey, and you activated our hunting instincts. Zexer stood in silence around him. His officers were listening with growing horror. How many of you are there? He finally asked. How many fighters? All of us, the human said. Every single colonist, the farmers, the teachers, the doctors, the children old enough to hold a weapon. When you threaten human families, there are no civilians. Everyone becomes a warrior. He shifted in his restraints. You are facing 1,200 humans who will do absolutely anything to protect their homes and children. We will use tactics your honor codes would never allow. We will fight with methods your military training never covered. We will keep coming until either you leave or none of you remain. I have 4,000 warriors, Zexer said, trying to sound confident. You have 3,976. The human corrected quietly. 24 are already gone. By tomorrow morning you will have fewer. We work at night. We work in the shadows. We are very, very patient. Eventually, your warriors will be too frightened to sleep. They will begin making mistakes. They will turn on each other in fear, and we will simply continue removing them one by one until you realize the truth. What truth, Zex? Thor whispered. That you cannot win. This, the human said gently, not because we are stronger or better armed, but because we will never stop. We will never surrender. We will never negotiate. You came to take our children's home. That makes you an existential threat. And humans a race. Existential threats completely without mercy, without hesitation. The humans stood slowly despite his restraints. Nobody tried to stop him. You can still leave, Commander. Take your remaining warriors and go. tell the Thorian Dominion that this world is not available. Tell other mercenaries that human colonies are not targets they can afford to engage. Save the lives of the warriors who trust you. He walked toward the exit. The guards parted to let him pass as if they were afraid to touch him. At the doorway he turned back one final time or stay and learn what previous mercenary forces learned, that when humans defend their families, they do not fight wars, they conduct erasers. Complete and total, and nobody even remembers you were here. Then he was gone, walking calmly back toward the forest. Zexthor stood frozen. His pride wanted to order an assault to prove he could not be frightened by farmers with scary stories, but his wisdom, the wisdom that Krellel had tried to share, was finally making itself heard. That night 32 more warriors vanished. By dawn Zexer ordered the evacuation. His remaining forces loaded into the drop ships with desperate speed. They left behind hundreds of pieces of equipment, abandoned in their rush to reach the safety of space. As the last transport lifted off, Zexter looked down at Veritin Prime. He saw humans emerging from the forests and hills, hundreds of them. They stood in the fields watching the mercenary fleet retreat. They were not celebrating, they were not cheering. They simply stood together, families, protecting their home. The human was right. They had not fought a war. They had conducted an erasure. Of the 4,000 warriors who had landed, only 3,412 made it back to space. Nearly 600 had vanished in just 3 days. No bodies recovered, no prisoners taken, just gone, as if they had never existed. Zexthor returned to the central hiring station. In disgrace, the contract remained posted, the red border glowing like a warning fire. Other mercenary commanders asked him what had happened. He told them the truth. Most did not believe him, some did, and those were the wise ones. He found Krell in the observation lounge looking out at the stars. You tried to warn me, Zexter said quietly. Yes, Krell replied without turning. I lost 600 warriors, good soldiers, experienced fighters, gone without trace. I know. Why did you not tell me it would be that bad? Krell finally turned to face him. Would you have believed me? You needed to see it yourself, needed to feel it. That is how young warriors learn. Zexthor slumped into a seat, exhaustion overwhelming him. What are humans really? They are what happens when prey evolves into predators, Krell said. They are what happens when a species spends millions of years being hunted by everything on their planet and eventually learns to hunt back. They are what happens when survival requires becoming more dangerous than everything trying to kill you. He moved closer. But most importantly, they are what happens when a species develops the concept of family, of tribe, of protecting the young at any cost. That instinct, combined with their physical abilities and their intelligence, makes them the most dangerous species in the galaxy. When you threaten what they love, will they ever expand beyond their colonies? Zexer asked. Will they become conquerors? No, Krell said with certainty. That is not their nature. They do not seek to dominate others. They only want to protect what is theirs. As long as you leave human families in peace, they are the kindest, most generous species you will ever meet. But threaten their children. He trailed off, and they become monsters. Zexter finished. No, Krell corrected. They become something worse than monsters. They become parents, and there is nothing in the galaxy more dangerous than a human parent defending their young. Zexer never took another contract. He returned to his home world and retired from mercenary life. The story of what happened on Veritin Prime spread throughout the mercenary community. The contract was eventually removed from the boards, marked as impossible to complete. The humans of Veritin Prime continued their quiet lives, farming their land and raising their children. Ships occasionally appeared in orbit, sensors scanning the surface, but nobody ever landed again. The colony remained undisturbed, and in mercenary halls across the galaxy, a new rule was added to the unwritten code that all warriors followed: never fight against the Zerothi hive mind, never accept contracts in the Corvin Nebula, and never under any circumstances threaten the human family, because humans do not fight wars to win territory or gain glory. They fight to protect what they love, and when fighting for love, humans become something beyond dangerous. They become inevitable. The contract that nobody dares to take remains in the memories of those who saw it, a warning, a lesson, a reminder that the most dangerous predators in the galaxy are the ones who pretend to be prey right up until the moment you threaten their children. Then they stop pretending.